Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to add a pattern to a rendering. So what I want to do is add a pattern to the torso portion of this dress. I've got the rest of it rendered, but I want to add kind of an Art Deco pattern. So I'm going to go into my gallery, and I have a new file I'm going to work on. And in here, I've already found some patterns that I like. So I'm going to insert that into this blank document. And I want to use that for the front of the dress. And I think what I can do is, I want to distort this. And I can also adjust this later once I have it on in the rendering, but let's start here. Okay, so then now what I'm going to do is go to my actions and I'm going to copy. Okay, so I'm going to copy this layer and I'm going to go back to my artwork. And what I should be able to do is go to my dress or go to the layers, and right above the dress layer I created a layer, and I've made it into a clipping layer. So I've gone in here and I've gone a clipping mask. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is paste onto the clipping mask, and I've pasted my pattern, and I wanted to show through some of the color from below, and I can adjust where this pattern goes. I can make it a little more centered, and let's make it a little more opaque so some of the colors from behind come through. And I can then, make it match with the skirt. And I also could distort this right now if I wanted to. So if I go into my selection tool, or it's not selection, it's the arrow, I'm gonna go into distort again, or maybe even warp, and you can kind of warp it to follow the shape of the body. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep pulling this the grid until it fits kind of what I want it to do in terms of fitting the body, going along the curve. I think that's pretty good. So, just follow the pattern, try to get it to fit where you want it to fit. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I mean, it follows the figure, and it kind of curves as we go. And I can now press that arrow button, and the dress pattern is now on top. And what I want to do next to kind of shade this is I'm going to create a new pattern, and I'm going to also make sure this is a clipping mask. And I can go into this mask, and now I can highlight and shadow. So I'm going to make sure I'm on my soft airbrush, and I want to, I can select some of the color in the skirt, I think. And I'm going to create just a really soft highlight that goes along with the rest of this dress and the figure. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and kind of highlight where I want it. And I'm also going to shadow. Okay, so I'll grab a shadow color and shade along the body. And it might be better sometimes in this case to go into the more gray tones rather than color tones. That way it feels like it's just shadowed, and then you don't really get rid of the pattern that you have. So it's kind of knocked down some of the color. What I want to do is I can go in and make it almost look like sequins. So if I take my airbrush but make it really small and more opaque, and I can go into the light kind of cream color or maybe even white, and I'll go in and kind of dot. So I'm going to make these dots appear as though they are sequins. And when you do sequins, you want to kind of vary how bright they are. So I may go in and add some different colors. So I'll go in and make some of them darker and some of them lighter. Okay, so now I'm going to go back onto the pattern layer because I want to try and blend the skirt with the pattern. You know, it's pretty dark, and so I'm going to take my soft airbrush here, and I've got a yellow color, and I'm going to try to bleed some of this color into the dress. Okay, so that's working out pretty well. I just don't want it to be so different. So I'll make this less opaque. I'm just trying to get rid of some of the dark spots of this pattern. You know, I did go in and add the shadow, but I just want to tweak it a little more. And I can even go in with a smaller brush. So I'll stick to the soft airbrush, but I'm gonna make it much smaller. And I think I'll go in to the details. Okay. The details of the dress and kind of add some of this yellow. Just to give it a little more similarity to the skirt. Okay, so I've gone in and just used the different layers between the dress contrast layer. You can see I've added the extra lines in there to give it a little more definition. And then if I add the layer with the contrast and shadow on it, now I was able to go in and add some of the wrinkles on the dress and pop some of the highlights. And there you go.